Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second annual Innovation Showcase. Woo! We are so sorry about the weather, but very happy to see you here tonight. Very briefly, in this first hour, you're going to hear from some inspiring speakers, including many of our students. And in the second hour, you're going to hear from, invited to join us next door for food and drinks and an opportunity to visit students at their individual tables where even more students will be presenting their work. So to kick things off, please join me in welcoming President James Herbert to welcome you.
Thank you so much, Justine. And I have to echo what she said about the weather. For those of you who aren't in Maine, trust me, if you wait around, it'll be 70 degrees and sunny tomorrow. We've been on this sort of whirlwind roller coaster back and forth between beautiful spring weather and sort of whatever this is. So thank you for not letting that stop you and coming out. So welcome to the University of New England, everyone. And one of my great pleasures as UNE president is witnessing the amazing achievements of our students. And I am honestly very gratified to be able to lead an institution that educates such imaginative, intelligent, and driven students. And they're going to be the ones that are going to be sharing their work this evening, and I can't wait for you all to participate with you in seeing that. So I want to say a special thanks to our student innovators for caring so deeply about our world and for channeling your creativity and your passion into such thoughtful and impactful projects. As our investment in student innovation at UNE has taken root and has grown in recent years, it's been extremely gratifying to witness the expanding reach of our students' projects. The ideas that our students generate and work diligently to realize on campus are blossoming into real-world innovations that actually improve lives. This process of imagining, creating, and delivering is so important to our students and to their academic experience. Students, whether you've worked on a project that makes a visible change on one of our campuses, whether you've created a project that improves services at a local hospital, or whether you've carried your innovation and inspiration all the way to Belize to study the impact of climate change on coral reefs, you have learned to be entrepreneurial thinkers. As you've soldered a device you've invented or prototyped a digital app you've created, or applied that entrepreneurial thinking to developing your skills to solving other real-world problems, you've done so in diverse fields, from marine sciences to healthcare to lots of fields in between. The guests joining us tonight will learn more about your amazing work and will get a glimpse of how innovation is happening everywhere at UNE and how it's happening every day at UNE. By its very nature, this work speaks to that certain something that makes our university so special. We sometimes say at UNE that innovation is in our DNA, and as such, we really try to foster a sense of curiosity in our students. We encourage them to challenge the conventional ways of thinking and doing, and to carry that spirit, that curiosity and innovation into their fields. And the products you're going to see tonight show that our students are getting it. Students, you've not embarked upon and completed this work alone. I'd like to acknowledge the members of our UNE faculty and professional staff who have served as your mentors and collaborators. They've nurtured you into these important habits of mind that we strive to develop in UNE students: curiosity, tolerance for ambiguity, critical thinking, problem solving, and a perseverance in the face of obstacles. To our faculty and professional staff members who have aided these students, thank you. Can we give it up for them, the faculty and professional staff? Thank you. And among that group, I would like to really especially highlight the wonderful work of Justine Bassett, the founder of our PD Merrill Makerspace and our Director of Innovation at UNE. Since joining our community in 2020, Justine has, where was she? She's supposed to be sitting right there. Where'd she go? Well, you gotta sit up there. Since coming to UNE in 2020, she has radiated an infectious energy for innovation and design thinking, and we are grateful for her work. Thank you, Justine. And I'd also like to thank our keynote speaker and my new friend, Jonathan Allen. And I'll have more to tell you about him in just a minute, but let's give it up for Jonathan. We're also joined this evening by many UNE trustees and members of the Maine business community. Thank you all for joining us and for celebrating our students' work. This group includes members of the PD Merrill Board, including our friend John Aschatz. John, it's so great to have you here on campus and the rest of the Merrill Board. Thank you all. And I'd like to offer a special thanks to David Shaw, our friend David, who's been an invaluable partner to UNE as we've worked to expand and enhance our innovation programming. Thank you, David. I know I saw him just a minute ago somewhere. And finally, let me express my deepest appreciation and admiration once again to our student innovation, to our Shaw Fellows, our Innovation Fellows, and our Makerspace students. Whether you've worked in any one of those capacities, you've taken a transformational next step in your academic experience. And in doing so, you've applied your skills and imagination toward improving our campuses, our communities, and in fact, the whole world. So congratulations to our students. So now, at this time, it's my distinct privilege to introduce Jonathan Allen, who has much wisdom to share with us. A champion of equity and empowerment, Jonathan is co-founder and director of development at the Leadership Brainery, a Boston-based nonprofit addressing inequitable access to master's and doctoral programs and workforce leadership opportunities for underrepresented talent, including people of color, individuals from lower socioeconomic status, first-generation students, and members of the LGBTQ+ community, among others. Additionally, Jonathan is the inaugural Innovator in Residence at Boston University's Student Innovation Center. And I can tell you, at lunch today, he and I were plotting out all kinds of things. So this is not the last time you're gonna see this guy around here. So with that, please welcome to the podium, Jonathan Allen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And listen, President Herbert, my new friend, indeed. Please, let's give it up for your inspiring leader. This is my first time in Maine, y'all. And you heard I said y'all, so you know I'm from Texas now. So we can fast forward in terms of the background. And Justine, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this incredible showcase. Let's give it up again for Justine, your leadership. I was just talking to Associate Provost Michael Sheldon, and he told me I got to come back up for fishing. So this summer, we're going to make it happen. I'm from the South, if you can't tell, and I grew up fishing. And so I am really excited about continuing to explore all that this region has to offer. I got up to Boston 8 years ago for law school at BU, and I am still around, and I'm here. This is my first time in Maine. It's raining, and everybody keep apologizing for the rain, but it's okay, because this won't be my last time. And I am just so grateful for the hospitality that I've experienced. President Herbert shared that earlier today we had lunch, and it was an incredible convening in time, really learning about the incredible work. I have my friends here as well. Thank you for your leadership as well. Learning about the incredible work that you all are doing here at the University of New England, which is really incredible. On the frontier of both health and marine science, which is super important and certainly trailblazing in many ways, the things that we need to be focused on like never before. And First Lady Herbert, we had this conversation as well as the need for us to be bold, bolder than we've ever been in addressing the inequities that we face in our society. And tonight, I want to just take a few moments to really hone in on this idea of getting outside the box. My mentor growing up would always tell me that if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. Everybody say that back to me. If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And it's important that you just let that sit for a moment. I forgot I got a lapel pin on. I don't even really have to use this as much. I can move around. But that's the reality. Oftentimes we do the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting different results. But the reality is that won't get us anywhere. That won't push the frontier. It really takes us being willing to take risk, stepping outside the box to learn something new, being vulnerable, willing to fail, in fact, but knowing that even failure is only a lesson that we can learn from to do it better next time. And that's what's inspiring me so much about the spirit of UNE. It's innovation. It's stepping outside the box. And you should be absolutely proud of yourselves for the work that you are doing. And one thing that we talked about earlier, and the vision for the future to do better, right? Not being stuck or complacent with where we are, but staying focused on the reality that we can do it better and better and better and better every single time. And that must continue to be the mandate. And that is why I'm so incredibly excited to hear from the student innovators tonight. Give them a round of applause once again. Who are doing incredible work. And it is our young people, y'all. It's our young people who are our future, but they're in fact our now. And it's critical that we continue to invest in them like never before, uplift them, encourage them, motivate them to go as far as they can, dig deeper than they've ever dug before, think bigger, dream bigger, broader, more expansively than our human capacity could even conceive. That's possible. All things are possible. And the moment we lose hope and encouragement around that fact is the moment that we succumb to nihilism, hopelessness. Innovation requires hope. Innovation requires risk-taking. Innovation requires optimism and a sense of resiliency that even in the face of adversity, I'm not giving up. And always pushing ourselves, challenging ourselves to think about, what have I not considered? What have we not explored? What have we not imagined? What have we not thought of? And this is something I think about quite often, because at the intersections of innovation for me is equity. And I think if we're going to be serious in our communities, in our society, in our country, in our world, about uplifting, as Dr. Howard Thurman would say, those with their backs against the wall, we can't drive innovation without driving equity. We can't. And so in stepping outside the box, there are three things I want you to hold with you today. There are a few definitions I want to explore. One is the word ideation. Everybody say ideation. Ideation. Say it louder. Ideation. Ideation means the formation of ideas or concepts. To ideate, to imagine, or conceive. Innovation requires ideation, right? Taking ideas and doing something with them. So many people dream, think, brainstorm, and just leave them on the table. But how many of you know that if we're really going to implement new solutions to our most pressing problems, we have to do something with the ideas that we have? Everybody say innovate. Innovate. Say it louder. Innovate. Innovate. Innovation is a new method, an idea, a product. It refers to something new or to make a change to an existing idea or field. And that's exactly what UNE is doing, innovating. Coming up with new solutions to the fields, particularly in health and marine science, thinking about what problems do we have, what problems are on their way, but also what opportunities are at hand that we can take advantage of, that we can seize this moment to unify around, mobilize around, that will create the opportunity for a new day. So that generations coming after us can have a different path to opportunity, to elevation, to advancement. So they don't have the same struggles that we experience or those that came before us experienced. It's innovation that is pushing the envelope every single time. That's why I'm so excited about even this iteration of innovation that's even displayed on these banners, this idea of innovation on our campus, innovation in our communities, innovation in healthcare, innovation in science and technology, and innovation in business. U&E, y'all are doing the thing. Y'all are doing the thing. And so I want to encourage you before I sit down to not let anybody tell you what you can't do, what's not possible, what your limits are. There's no ceiling. I quite often tell people that the sky is the floor. We walk on the clouds. They don't stop us. We don't stop there. So level up every single time. And I believe, as I opened up with, that if we're going to do something different, it has to be centered in thinking about who's not at the table, whose voices are not in the room, whose perspectives are not being prioritized in anything that we're doing. And in doing so, I believe that the unification of our various cultures and backgrounds and experiences and identities is exactly what makes us stronger. I'll close with this. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to travel to South Africa when I was in my graduate program at Southern Methodist University. And I went to study hope, and particularly exploring the dichotomy between United States civil rights and South Africa apartheid. And we were on a safari, and as we were going through, it started to get dark. And I noticed something. I saw that the different animals, the giraffes and the wildebeest and some of the deer, some of the other animals, they begin to kind of congregate and come together. And so I asked the safari driver, "Sir, why are all of those animals starting to come together into a group?" And he said, "Well, my brother," he said, "the thing you got to understand is that the reason why all of the animals are coming together as it's getting dark is because they have an enemy in common." I said, "Say more." He said, "Well, they're all trying to get away from the lion. And so they understand that regardless of their differences, that they have something yet in common that necessitates their unification. And so when it gets dark, they congregate as a defense mechanism and a way for them to stay safe." I know that there's much that we're all unaware of. There's much that we've all have not experienced. People, places, perspectives, experiences. But the reality is our oppression, the suppression of our ideas and our beliefs, all of it is in jeopardy. All of it is our common enemy. And what keeps us together is our interconnectedness, our interrelatedness, and our interdependency. We need each other. And to drive innovation, we got to do it together. We can't do it disjointed. We can't do it in discord. We can't do it fighting or bickering or succumbing to pride and ego, thinking I'm better than you and you're better than me. But we have to realize that together in our solidarity, we can solve the world's most pressing problems, and we've seen it happen time and time again, that the most effective and impactful movements in our societies have come when people have come together. And the reality is, and now I feel like I'm back on the campaign trail, back in 2019, I ran for city council in Boston, and my campaign slogan was "Better Together." And I promise I'm not running for office right now. But indeed, friends, UNE, we are better together. And I encourage you to continue to push yourselves to step outside the envelope. And all of you are getting ready to see on full display tonight how our young people, how our student innovators are doing just that, stepping outside the box, doing new things, bringing new ideas to the forefront. And I'm just so proud to be here alongside all of you to celebrate them, to uplift them, and to push them to continue to emerge as our world's leaders. And so thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for being here. And let's get this thing started. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Before I turn it back over to Justine, I was just going to say that, Jonathan, so first of all, you're our new spokesperson at UNE with your enthusiasm, and I'm signing up for speech lessons with you. Okay, so I'm your first client. So all right. So okay, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Justine. Thank you again. One more, give it up for Jonathan. One more time. Thank you.
Now you know why our students were so excited to have Jonathan come today. They met him last year, and when we visited the offices of the Leadership Brainery, the students said that they found Jonathan so inspiring because he saw a problem in diversity and equity in graduate education, and he formed the Leadership Brainery to address a problem he cared about. Our students also met with David Shaw over the past year, and they were inspired by him as not only an entrepreneur and one of the founders of the tech industry here in Maine, but also as an artist and an environmentalist. And our students have been inspired by people like Kathleen Sheehan-Tart, who you'll hear from later, a nurse, a nursing director, and someone who's a visionary in seeing the future in healthcare education of nurses. Innovation looks different in all these different fields. These people are innovators who have inspired our students over the last year. And now it's time for our students to inspire you. Bob?
Good evening. I have the pleasure of introducing the Innovation on Our Campus section of the showcase. In September, Student Affairs sought the help of the Makerspace to reimagine the Hang for the purpose solely of engaging students in a more meaningful and intentional way. For those that know the Hang, it once was a hub of student activity. However, over the years, the space has aged, and thus the identity has dwindled over time. Working with the fellows has been a rewarding experience. I have enjoyed seeing them prototype, learn, and experiment as they receive feedback from their peers. I'm thrilled to see the Hang come together and so thankful for their passion, creativity, and thoughtfulness as they put this project further along. Now let's hear from the students.
Hello, my name is Molly Burgess, and I am a second-year Innovation Fellow at UNE.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm also a returning fellow, just like Molly. So Molly and I came into this year knowing what to expect and what innovation was really all about. And most of the students that you'll hear tonight, they don't have an idea of what they were getting themselves into. We spent a lot of time learning design thinking, and we wanted to give you an idea of what that really means.
First, we had to understand how to use empathy to understand the problem we were solving. For our project, we redesigned a space on campus called The Hang, and this is for all students to spend time there. We interviewed commuter students, athletes, artists, because it's important to get diverse perspectives on the matter. And today, you'll hear more from other students who have created innovative products, designed businesses, and even built a robot seal.
Then came prototyping and experimenting with ideas. For me as a returning fellow, I built on design skills that I learned last year, and I can now express my creativity in ways I couldn't before. I learned how to solder, sew, and worked with acrylic to prototype. We picked up paintbrushes, purchased seatings for students to try out, and held prototyping sessions where we got hundreds of ideas from different students over just a couple of weeks. At first, it was overwhelming being open to all these different opinions, but we started to hear some themes that we could build on.
Once we understood more about the problems we were trying to solve, we experimented with ideas, and we were finally able to make real change. The student body has been very helpful in this process with expressing what they wanted to see on campus, and student affairs staff like Bob Eagle have allowed us to use the space to its utmost potential.
As a senior, I can confidently claim that I made everlasting change on campus. With the support of Student Affairs, we're renaming the hang to the Cloud Lounge, and I created a light-up sign to replace the one that's been there for about a decade. I am more comfortable speaking to people and listening to their ideas, and even standing here on stage for the second year in a row.
Last year, my project brought change to Ram Island, and this year, I got to see change in the campus center. This whole process has helped me be more positive towards new projects and executing ideas.
I am graduating this month, which unfortunately means I will be leaving my innovative family. However, I still very much cherish the time that I had growing with these fantastic individuals. I'm glad that I was able to leave a legacy behind and grow into someone that can partake in group projects and comfortably talk to people, which Amy last year would have never even thought that she could even accomplish. These are the kind of skills I plan on integrating now and forever.
Now, let's welcome the rest of our team to the stage.
Hi, my name's Sophia. I'm a freshman, a sophomore now. I'm a sophomore now somehow. And I'm a new innovator this year. I love change. I mean, that's kind of why I am an innovation fellow, but it can still be really daunting. Luckily, the change that we got to do on campus was an opportunity to try new stuff, to hear new voices. And that's what's so special about our project, is that we got to hear new voices. We specifically wanted this project to be driven by the ideas of those who live, work, and learn on our campus. How many people here have been to or know of the Hang in the campus center? A few more than I thought, but we want more. We want all of you to be able to know what the campus center Hang is, also now the Cloud Lounge. And so just at the beginning of this year, Student Affairs had given us the opportunity to reinvent the Hang. And so instead of putting paintbrushes in our hands and slapping on a coat of paint, we wanted to hear from the students first about what they really wanted. We wanted to bring those voices that weren't at the table and put them into the campus center Hang. Once we had done a lot of feedback projects, such as interviews and prototyping sessions, we started to see a pattern in what the students wanted. They were looking for a place with cozy seating, nice lighting, and a lot of student art. The art part was really important. And once we had heard this feedback, we finally put paintbrushes in our hands, and we are getting to work now.
So after numerous conversations with the student body, just like Sophia said, art was a big thing that they wanted to see. Not just a place to create art, but also a place to view student artwork. And that was really exciting for me to hear because it also echoed my own wants and needs. And as a senior, I was looking to leave my creative mark here at UNE. I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to do that, but after seeing a poster on campus looking for innovators on campus, I knew that was exactly the outlet I was looking for. I had the opportunity alongside my fellows to create, prototype, and design a mural along with lighting and seating. And after a few changes, the students started to use the space a lot more, which I was really surprised to see. And as a result, we got more feedback onto how to better suit the student body's needs in the space. So we painted a mural, and then we painted over it. I know it sounds crazy, but it made it so that we had an opportunity to create a bigger, better mural that better echoed the students' wants. And as an artist and innovator, understanding that not everything will work out the first time was definitely the perspective that I needed to take throughout this process, but I'm also taking this process and perspective with me to my summer internship at the Museum of Fine Arts this coming summer as I work at the Museum of Fine Arts inspiring the young artists of today. So not only did I leave my creative mark here at UNE, I also did beyond.
If you had told us last September that our little group of 5 ambitious students would have been given permission to completely reinvent a space on campus, completely reinvent, everything ranging from the purpose of the room to the paint on the walls, I'm not sure we would have believed you. But bringing a change to campus from the perspective of students was exactly what the hang needed. When it came time to select our major innovation project for the semester, I felt that we couldn't just leave the hang hanging. It was important to continue this process and make the extensive changes that students were anticipating. With the go-ahead from Student Affairs to renew this space with complete creative freedom, we were able to get started, and we saw results almost immediately. The anxieties I started off with were washed away when I started to see students who had previously never even heard of the hang, lounging, studying, connecting with their friends in the newly decorated, modernized space. The process had barely even started before I was hearing feedback from my friends in classes and hearing compliments about the prototyped mural. Being a part of a change that I could see was so gratifying, and seeing our prototypes, the floor model, the mural, and the experimental seating all become a reality with the help of Student Affairs and the Makerspace team, it was so rewarding. And we're finishing things up now, and so we invite you all to come and see the new Cloud Lounge this summer when we're all finished with our project. Thank you.
Innovation at UNE has far-reaching impact, benefiting the students in their academic pursuits and also community members. This past semester, the Health, Wellness, and Occupational Studies program piloted a course project with the Makerspace. Student teams created a range of assistive technology solutions using human-centered design. The students were challenged to apply their creativity to real-world problems, and their solutions improved the lives of local community members. This innovative design work is happening across the university. And next, you'll see a few examples of projects that exemplify innovation in the community. The projects represent the many ways student work is extending beyond campus. Ben and Isaac, who you'll hear from soon, even submitted their project to the National Make Able competition. All of the projects in this section highlight how UNE students are bringing innovation and value, both to individuals and the community.
Hello, my name is Isaac Randall, and this year I got a little ahead of myself. This past semester, I decided to take on not one, but 2 projects, one being the mechanical pencil pictured behind me, and the other being an app for a shipyard. You may ask how these are similar, and I'm here to tell you they're not similar at all. I just couldn't decide between both, so I decided to do both. So for the first one, the mechanical pencil, that's arguably one of the most important projects I've worked on, whether it's in academics or my professional career. I got the pleasure of working with my teammate Ben, as well as over there in the corner, as well as Ethan and Maura. Ethan is from our community and recently diagnosed with autism. He's no different from you and I, however. He's smart, he's capable, and he's determined to get the job done, and that's how we're able to make a product like this behind us. It was an amazing experience working with him, and I'd do it again anytime. As for the app, that was a whole different story to get started. So I was an intern for the past couple of years at a local shipyard, and I've noticed over the past couple of years that there's a true disconnect between environmental information and safety information between those deep down within the vessel. To combat this, I've developed an app that has all regulatory information based on maritime right in the palms of their hands. This will increase safety as well as production in the maritime workplace. I've learned a lot about myself through the past couple months. I've learned how to tackle unique problems with unique solutions, and I wouldn't have changed it for any other way. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Teresa, and I'm a second-year Innovation Fellow and the student organizer for the Healthcare Story Slam this year. For those of you who don't know what a Story Slam is, it's an event that gives workers and consumers of healthcare the chance to share their stories with the community and give people an insight into what it's like dealing with challenges in the medical field. When I first started working in healthcare a few years ago, I had no idea the kind of culture shock that was in store for me. Myself and a lot of the people that I met walked into a world of experiences that were really grounding and realigned my views on what healthcare looked like. I remember walking into the ICU for the first time and being so overwhelmed that I completely forgot what I was there to do. While that overwhelming feeling never really leaves anyone that lives or works in healthcare, the Story Slam brings to light different perspectives that emphasize the realistic and true perspectives of the medical field. This year's theme was silver linings, and I'd like to share a few of my own that I've cultivated over the last couple of years. Working in the Story Slam as a team member last year taught me cooperation and accountability, and this year as the coordinator, I've gained invaluable skills in leadership and interpersonal connection. I believe these skills will help me greatly in my career as I help educate people on what it's like in healthcare for other people. The other silver lining came from the event itself. Since I started working on the Story Slam last year, it's been a really bittersweet feeling watching the storytellers throughout the months leading up to the event. I felt such pride in them for being able to share their stories with so much courage, and yet I felt a little bit of regret that I didn't have that same courage in myself. Now, seeing the lasting impact that the Story Slam will have on the community, I hope to see the event thrive, and maybe I'll even come back next year to share a story of my own. Finally, I'd like to share with you all a video that I believe really encompasses everything that the Story Slam is about. There's going to be a lot of, challenging topics that people are talking about, but there's also a lot of really positive things that come from healthcare, which I think is a really big point to this event, that there are challenges, but there are also those silver linings that you get to look forward to.
It's just the shared experience that we've had. This, like a catharsis, this release.
So last year we had a theme of adaptability, which I think worked really well. And this year we kind of wanted to lean more towards getting people that were consumers of healthcare into the event.
My life was flipped upside down by an unknown cause. The pain spread everywhere. It plagued every square inch of the inside of my body. I've told this story back to front hundreds of times to so many different people, and just the process of writing it this way made me remember and go through the emotions almost again, that it's just been a wild experience to kind of reprocess the whole thing and put it into words.
I think oral narratives you get more emotion. The very first patient that came in, I will call Afua. She was 102 years old, and she was accompanied by her 82-year-old son, who I will call Enoch. The storytelling side, the narrative side of it is a really important takeaway for students as they enter practice.
I think what caught me the most was how every speaker drew you in immediately to their story, and I think made a connection. There seemed to be something that I could reflect on back from my own experience that made that connection.
It's everything that can go wrong, everything that go right, everything you never expected, and ultimately it's about love.
You remember them and it touches you, it hits you. But nothing is like losing a child.
I love that it's innovative and that it's formative for students to tell stories.
I think anybody in the community and on the college campus can benefit from hearing these stories.
I know 90% of everything that's going to happen every day, but it's the 10% that's really what you tell stories about.
Good evening. It's been a pleasure and an honor to work with Justine and the UNE Student Innovation Team. Their dedication to innovation brought joy to nursing education, bringing renewed energy among clinical teams at Southern Maine Healthcare. They've been true collaborators with nurses, nurse educators, working together with staff development specialists to solve problems and create positive change. It brought me great joy as a leader to pass by the escape room and hear teams of nurses engaged, laughing, and learning together. These students are amazing innovators, and I welcome them anytime to participate in healthcare innovation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kyle Woodruff, and welcome to the Innovation Escape Room. Well, we're not exactly in an escape room. We're still at the Innovation Showcase, but you're still gonna have a great night. It's going to be a fun night. Get it? Ha. There'll be a lot more of those puns later. So this semester, I've gotten the pleasure to work with 3 UNE nursing students to come up with a project that revolutionizes education in nursing. When we're in college, we think that when we're done, when we graduate, our education journey is over. We're allowed to live our lives and do whatever we want. No more school, no more education. Except what I've learned is that is definitely not the case. For a lot of people, this means that they have more education to do, especially for those in the healthcare industry. Even though nurses go through years and years and years of education before they even get to the hospital, it only continues once they reach that hospital. They have to learn about new procedures, new equipment, and more policies that they have to follow and things that they have to adapt to their daily work life. But this was about to change for Southern Maine Healthcare with a team of innovative nurse educators. To amp up this education process, we came up with an escape room that was presented to over 750 SMHC employees at their annual skills fair. Now, these weren't your average nurses. They came up with grand ideas of unlocking safes, having a dummy on a gurney, using protective equipment to solve a final clue, and of course, wouldn't be an escape room without some fun props. Now, ultimately, the nurses got to call the shots, another one, but we got to aid in the process by using our combined knowledge and creativity. Now, this is my second year as an Innovation Fellow, and let me tell you, it is something completely different from my first year. This time around, I got to know the ropes, and I was able to fully embrace my new education major. I was able to guide the rest of the fellows in the design thinking process, and I was able to teach them ways to tap into their inner creativity. I learned a new perspective on design thinking. My thinking just completely changed, and I was able to look at problems in education in a completely new light. That's not all, though. I got to learn a new perspective on the underrated healthcare heroes that go in every day to risk their lives to save everybody else's lives. The design thinking process isn't just a process. It's about the perspective you gain to look at the world with more empathy than when you started. And now, everybody, it's time to relax and take a chill pill.
Well, before taking the chill pill, let me tell you that the escape room is just the tip of the iceberg. But it is a much bigger door to a more exciting project, the nursing app. Salut, my name is Chancel Dianzenza, and for me, it all started with one sentence, and that sentence was on the poster about innovation progress. We believe students can change the world. February 2023, during our visit at BU Innovation ceremony, I had the pleasure to meet a lot of students, great students, hundreds of them. And we had one common idea, was to bring change to the world. Just like Jonathan Allen mentioned earlier, it is time to get off your box. Well, we did. We took the escape room out of the box. With nurses at SMHC, we had one question. What if? What if we could create an app that could improve the learning experience of all healthcare workers? The idea was so great, we didn't wait long, and we started interviewing nurses and making workshops just to have an idea how to create that app. Well, one reason why I joined the innovation team, because I want to bring change. And of course, I'm doing that with the help of a great team for innovation nurses, and of course, my greatest partner and my friend, caveman that's called a caveman.
Thank you for that, Chancel. I wanted to take this opportunity to share some of my experiences working on this collaborative project that was posed to reimagine the way that nurses are educated. I grew up with nurses. My mom was a nurse, and my sister's just about to graduate from nursing school. Some of my favorite memories growing up were going to work with my mom. I used to run around the halls with her Polaroid camera, taking pictures with her colleagues and her patients, and those pictures would be hung up everywhere. I could see why she spent so much time there. They were all a family. Through working on this project, we interviewed nurses, we researched micro-learning, researched competitive apps, and collaborated in a brilliant workshop, not to be confused with the escape room. Through all of this, the complexity of the problem really started to come into focus. The sacrifices my mother made to take care of me and my two sisters is a lot more clear now. When all I could see were smiling kids in gowns, fabulous finger paintings lining the walls of the hospital, and the love and attention that each nurse gave each individual patient, I felt at home. My values are highly human-centric, and I believe in community-based solutions. Social connectivity is paramount to the medical system, so we shifted our focus from just reimagining the way nurses are educated to creating a community-based platform for nurses to come together to learn and collaborate. We need to create a space where nurses can come together to share their experiences and knowledge and support each other, a place where you can find resources, mentorship, and community that understands your challenges and celebrates your successes. While we don't have a finished product yet, we're proud of the progress we've made so far, and we've shaped a vision that we are very excited to work towards. Thank you for your attention.
So as the director of the Arthur P. Gerard Marine Science Center and academic director of the School of Marine and Environmental Programs, I've been trained as an engineer and a scientist, and I know the importance of design, coding, and electronics in fields such as marine and environmental science. Today's students must learn to think outside the box to get unique hands-on experiences with skills that will matter in their future careers. So I was very happy to speak with Justine Bassett and to collaborate with UNE's Makerspace on the projects that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. So next, you're going to hear from students who walked into the Makerspace with little to no experience in technology, but who are now on stage sharing their successes. You'll hear about sensors designed to measure coral fluorescence and environmental DNA, a device designed to examine the Coriolis effect, which I'm particularly excited about being a physical oceanographer, a robotic seal, and the coding needed to run all of these. So I'd like to send out a special thanks to outside mentors like Tom Bryan and Daniel Whitney, who volunteered their time to help our students on these projects. But it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce the next section of tonight's program, Innovations in Science and Technology. Take it away.
So I grew up loving dolphins, but I'm here today to talk about how much I love coral. Now, I didn't know this until I joined Dr. Jerry Fox's coral biology class in fall of 2022. We learned a lot about coral and a lot about how our reefs impact our ocean ecosystem. But unfortunately, we learned a lot about how our reefs are dying today. I left class one day really wanting to make a change, so I reached out to Dr. Fox and I joined the Coral Fluorescence Project. This past year, we were able to design and create a new, innovative, affordable camera to survey our corals. We were able to do this by the Makerspace using 3D prints and a Raspberry Pi. No, I'm not talking about the dessert. I'm talking about a small computer that we could code to take photos of our coral. Our goal is to capture the fluorescence of the coral, or the color, and relate it to their health. I have learned so much this year, and I have been able to work with so many amazing people, and I would love for you all to meet every single one of us at our table today. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Peterson. I first learned about the opportunity of creating an environmental DNA water sampler through an Instagram post from the Makerspace. In one of our first team meetings, Dr. Marcus Frederick had mentioned that students and scientists all over were using a Niskin bottle to take their samples. This method, however, contaminates pure samples, and we wanted to address that. I wasn't sure if our small team from Maine could do something so revolutionary. However, the other week out on the boat, I was proved wrong. And what I thought was just gonna be another resume builder turned into something so much more. Now, I admit I was intimidated in the beginning. I'm not an engineer. Words like servo and solenoid made no sense to me. But as time went on, I learned that being a marine science student was also a contribution. I was able to provide student insight about using equipment out in the field, and I was even able to jump in the pool and be a part of that testing. Now, I became so passionate about innovation that I started working at the Makerspace this past year. In the beginning, I couldn't even pronounce the word soldering, but now I'm comfortable with that, along with using our laser cutter and our 3D printer. So yeah, I've done some pretty cool things, but I've also met some pretty awesome people, and that's where JoJo comes in.
Hi everyone, I'm JoJo Pekowski. I'm the person who helped code both the previous projects you saw, the coral fluorescence camera and the eDNA sampler. I've always been a STEM-focused student, especially in high school when I discovered my passion for technology and engineering, specifically coding. That's why in a predominantly life science-oriented university, I had to seek out opportunities to follow that interest. It was actually during Accepted Students Day when I first learned about the Makerspace. After, I knew that's where I would spend most of my time here. When I started working at the Makerspace in the fall, I had no idea what I was in store for. I figured I would be working on various projects with professors. However, I did so much more than just project work. I helped teach workshops, and I watched students' demeanors completely change from "I wish I was anywhere but here" to being so proud of what they created. I also gave tours of the Makerspace on this year's Accepted Students Day, the same day a year ago from when I was in those students' positions. I even shared my own passion for robotics, and I was able to start the Marine Robotics Club. Working at the Makerspace has allowed me the opportunity to work hands-on with coding through project work and learning from those around me. You could come in any day during the semester and find me like the picture behind me, surrounded by technology. Other benefits of my time at the Makerspace included meeting my best friends and lastly working with some of our great professors at UNE. I still can't believe my first year here at UNE is coming to an end soon. However, this is only the beginning of my college journey, and I'm so excited to see what the future holds for me and to continue to share my passion for engineering and technology.
Sitting in my oceanography classroom last semester, I learned all about how the Earth's rotation, wind activity, and temperature differences create our ocean currents. And Dr. T, I know you explained it really well, but honestly, it still confused the heck out of me because of how conceptual it was. But working on this turntable, which demonstrates those currents by simulating the Earth's rotation, really helped me understand all of the information, which is why I am so excited to be able to share it with other students. One of the things I loved most about working on this project was being able to play an active role in our design process. There wasn't an easy answer at the start of this. I got to work through the challenges and actually create the solution for it. And I've been doing that every day in my last 2 years at the Makerspace. From from sharing with kids to students to international delegations, I've been able to show the excitement of what we're doing, the different prototypes. Just last month, I went from boat testing a research project to creating a dental hygiene patent to teaching a soldering workshop all in one day. And that sharing that excitement and that range of different work each day is what makes me so excited. And now I'm really glad to be able to share that excitement with all of you when you come by my table later tonight to see the project.
Imagine you're watching a Nat Geo special on robotic animals. Now imagine you're a scientist who wants to study seals. This is what led Dr. Ono into recruiting a whole bunch of students to help her for a very fun project, the robo-seal.
Now, I'd like you to imagine a seal pup. Actually, let's just show you some. They look exactly the same, so you could see how it'd be hard to identify them by sight. That's why we needed to build something that'd help us out in the field. So, first, we had to design the dream team.
Now, I first met Dr. Ono on orientation, and she told me about this project she was working on. I don't think I shut up. And so, after talking her ear off, I was on the team. How did you get here, Julie?
Back in October, I got an email from an old professor of mine, and I read the words robot and seal, and immediately my interest was piqued. But I had no experience, yet they put me on the team. So, our little group of at-the-time strangers were presented this box of spare parts and scrap metal, but our imaginations got right to work trying to bring the seal to life. We designed nearly everything from scratch, and I had no experience in 3D design, but I was put in charge of designing all of the internals. This is like the organs of the seal. Now, Ben over here had experience with RC cars and had previously worked in the makerspace, so he was in charge of the brains and the bronze, how it would move around on the beach, and how the spray paint would work. And Milo, over here, was on skin duty. How'd that go for you?
Please don't call it skin. I was working on the coat, and it took a lot of effort to find fabric that was environmentally friendly, making sure that when we were spraying these seals on the beach, that we weren't spraying the inside of our robot, and making sure that everything came together so that our seal looked like a seal. Overall, it was a really fun and engaging experience. But we've talked a lot about this seal. Why don't we look at her? This is Marcus, or more formally called the robot seal. And this is what she does.
So this is our actual real seal. It's actually living. No. No, we keep the real ones in a freezer. Anyways, so I've had the pleasure of driving this thing around for the past couple weeks, and it showed great performance. I've even been driving it on the Biddeford campus, and it, stood up really well even against standoff with James Herbert. True story. No, but we'd like to thank Tom Bryant for his engineering expertise on this project. Thank you.
So you will see on the program that this section is listed as business, and yet the students all are different majors. So you may ask, what makes this business? So thank you for asking, okay? So here's the answer. We want to know, how can this innovation help more people? So to answer that question, you have to answer other questions. Where is the value we are creating with this idea? How can we turn this into a sustainable solution, something that generates its own resources? And yes, resources include money. How can we scale this idea? All of these questions are ones we ask when we help a student figure out if a good idea can also be a good business. So the students you will be hearing from represent different ways in which a student may benefit from our innovation and entrepreneurship curriculum. So I want to just point out very briefly for each of these students, how they're approaching this in a different way. Now, Abby will be graduating from UNE in just a couple weeks. She's a sustainability and business major. But she's also one of the very first students to graduate with a social innovation and entrepreneurship minor. And over the past couple years, Abby has taken advantage of every entrepreneurship opportunity that UNE has offered to her. Now, Jacob is at the end of his first year at UNE as a sport and recreation management major. Jacob's just finishing a class in innovation through technology, and the instructor of that class connected Jacob and I just within the last couple months. It could have been earlier, but Jacob is on the UNE hockey team, and their season just wouldn't end. So what's cool about what Jacob will share with you is that this is an idea that his father developed a number of years ago, and now Jacob has this amazing opportunity to spend the next few years working with us at UNE to really figure out how to unlock the value of this very cool idea. And now Marcus is another student I just met this semester, and he was also in this innovation through technology class, and he's an example of why I want to do whatever I can to ensure that every student at UNE, regardless of the major, has an opportunity to take a class in innovation. Like Abby, Marcus is going to be graduating this month, and he's a medical biology major who's heading off to dental school, and please ask him later about his dental school acceptances. So through his studies, he became fascinated in the role of our microbiome in supporting oral health. And in this last semester, he had an opportunity to challenge himself to consider what is valuable, viable, feasible, and a usable product might look like as part of that. So Marcus will not be speaking, but I don't want to steal his thunder. So I ask you to visit his table to learn more about his idea. So now, let me hand things over to Abby.
Hi, my name is Abby Anderson, and a year ago I was standing on this stage presenting an idea that involved AR murals, projection mapping, and connecting students with the environment. With the guidance from the Shaw Fellowship and Makerspace, this elaborate idea has undergone a complete transformation into what you see behind me today, Click. Click is an app that aims to make every college student feel connected to their campus community by taking conventional social media tactics and turning them on their head. Students are the users, and student affairs departments are my customers. Students connect with each other based off of their interests, hobbies, and personalities. This approach is unconventional in the sense that once you're connected with someone, you're encouraged to get off your phone and meet in person, finding your click. On the other end, student affairs departments at universities will be able to learn about what things their students are interested in so they can better design events that students are excited to attend. Over the past year, I've interviewed over 100 students in 40 colleges, built a diverse team, and most recently, become a Greenlight Maine finalist. Thank you, where I'll be competing again in June. By August, I plan to launch Click at universities throughout New England. If you want to learn more about Click, I'll have a table in the next room. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jacob Pellerin. I'm a hockey player at UNE, studying sports management and coaching. Hockey runs in my blood. This is my father, Scott. He played at Maine and had a lengthy professional career. As hockey players know, shooting on an empty net can get boring and counterproductive for development very fast. Here's up above is one solution to this problem once it loads in. While my father came up with a very creative and useful solution to this problem, and I'm very excited to have the opportunity to refine this idea with my time at UNE. This is Scorebound. Scorebound is a three-dimensional hockey training tool that emulates the visual of a goalie. Scorebound is placed in the net and is used to create highly repetitive and game-like reps for the player shooting. Scorebound can be used straight on or has the ability to be adjusted to an angle to help enhance the training experience, making practicing more engaging and realistic. Scorebound is in the early stages of development, and I'm open to any advice or suggestions, so please come by the table to try out the goalie and learn more. Thank you.
When we started this event, the students told me how very hungry they were. So we're going to end on that note. Thank you so much for attending the Innovation Showcase in this first hour. Please join us in the next room and visit our students at their tables. Thank you so much.